Good morning, good morning. It is Wednesday, the 15th of January, 2025. Welcome to everyone and everyone in the chat. We've got Sarah Davis in there, we've got Siskin Edge, we've got Alan Jackson, the Witchy Goth, we've got Jenny Davis, we've got Francis Winrow, we've got Darren Christian, Veg Pie, Diz, Billy Kershaw, Ghost Pouch, and Lee Corn, amongst others, I'm sure. So if you would like to join them in the chat, all you need to do is just press subscribe. That's all you need to do. And wait for a minute, and you'll be able to add your opinions, and they'll come up on the screen, as long as you're not being a troll. If you're a troll, we'll get rid of you and you won't be able to comment no more. So, welcome to the show. Good to see you all there out in YouTube land. Today, we're going to be talking about TikTok, which I've been using a lot over the last few years. Started using it during lockdown, and it was really, really helpful. Like, not just for realizing that I might have ADHD, which I'm now diagnosed for, but also like things around the house. We were having terrible problems with mold in our house. This is a very old house. This is a terrace 1890s house. And we were having mold problems. And I saw a video on TikTok about what's called a PIV. It basically pulls air from your attic into the rest of the house, pushes it out, causing a positive, amount of air in the house. And because mold is caused by basically still air or stagnant air, it got around it. I mean, there's just a few examples. Stuff in the garden, like stuff that I've picked up just by watching little videos and going, oh yeah, that's quite interesting. Or things that I've discovered, like things I've learned from watching a TikTok video, and it might only be like a minute long, but then I've gone on to investigate it a little bit more because it's it's someone who I respect and someone I respect the opinion of, and don't think they've got to put nonsense on there. But I always check. I always do check. And so for me, like if they did ban TikTok in this country, in the UK, I'd be really pissed, because it's one of the few social media platforms that I actually enjoy using. I've got it tailored to the content that I want to see, and movies and stuff about class war and stuff about politics, and as well as some daft stuff that I like watching on there. It's good, and it really appeals to the way that my brain is set up, with that dopamine hit of just going to a new video all the time. It's the equivalent, I guess, of flicking through all the channels on television and watching like a little bit, but it's not like in the middle of a soap opera. It's like that's the whole video, which I really appreciate. It makes it a lot easier for me to digest stuff and understand it. A lot easier than having to listen to a 1 hour lecture on a subject, which is like torture for me. That's why one of the reasons why I don't like doing pre-records, and I get grief off Phil for this all the time. He's like, you need to do more pre-records. And I'm like, yeah, but I don't like doing them because it doesn't feel like a conversation. This feels like a conversation. It feels like I'm talking to you. And people are saying, morning, Kerr, morning, Richard, morning, all. Alistair Kerr has just gifted 5 Politics Social memberships. Thank you so much for that, sir. That's really kind of you. I need to find out what the code is for that, to make sure that where it says Ghost Pouch, Nick and Diff, Nature's Admirer, Jack Lyons, and Tackleberry was gifted a membership by Alistair Kerr. Sorry, I need those words to be normal sized. Well, the size of the rest of the text. So we need to find out what it's called. If I press inspect, I'm just gonna put that up on the screen for inspect. I'll try and suss that out later. But Alistair, thank you so much for that, mate. That's really kind. I'll give you a super chat animation. I should do an animation, shouldn't I? I'm gonna write it down on my to-do list. Gift animation, right? Anyway, so yeah, for me, TikTok, good platform. I didn't have to suffer adverts in the same way that I do for I was going to say Facebook. Obviously, that's the obvious one. It's just like everything's an advert now. But also on YouTube. I mean, I've got to wait 10 seconds before I can skip an advert. And I'm sure people watching this know how annoying that is. Or you're trying to watch a live show and then it cuts to an advert and you're like, try to get back to the live thing that you were watching. It is very, very frustrating. Whereas on TikTok, yes, there are adverts, but you can swipe them up straight away. Gone, gone, gone. And you know, it's not a perfect platform. It's not without its own problems, but you can see how Donald Trump hated it because it was TikTok that made it so in 2020 when he was trying to organize these rallies in the middle of the COVID lockdown, they bought up, well, they took all the tickets, they reserved all the tickets for these rallies that he was doing, and then like no one turned up because it was all TikTokers who had done it. So that put it onto Donald Trump's radar. And then all the tech bros hated it, especially Elon Musk and especially Zuckerberg. Zuckerberg absolutely detested TikTok because it was doing something better than Facebook, a lot better than Facebook, because you put up a video and it wasn't dissolving into, you know, these kind of just stupid arguments that happen all the time on Facebook. You put anything mildly controversial on Facebook, you'll get people telling you a dickhead and stuff like this, and then having to fight back against them. TikTok's a bit different to that. You don't have to read the comments if you don't want to. Yeah, I didn't find myself getting drawn into any discussions or debates or whatever. I just watched the video and then go on. I wasn't interested in the whole, you know, myriad comments coming up underneath. And because it wasn't people that I know or know by association, like on Facebook, I didn't feel compelled if I saw a video that was bollocks to write bollocks on it. In fact, actually thinking about it, I don't see too many videos on TikTok that are bollocks because the algorithm, it must know that I won't stand for bullshit. I don't see anything about fucking aliens and ghosts and horoscopes and bullshit. It must know that I do not go in for that kind of stuff. And therefore I don't have to see it. And therefore I don't have to refute it or write bollocks underneath it, which is what I find myself increasingly doing on Facebook. I say increasingly, I think I've always done that. Like, it's just, I used to have a little GIF called like the Northern bullshit detector that I'd just stick onto and it had like, you know, utter bullshit, you know, at the very top. Lies, damn lies, utter bullshit. And use that a lot, but I'm using it every day. I go on YouTube, on Facebook, if I go on it, and I scroll, and it's adverts, and it doesn't tell me anything what my friends are doing or what's happening in their lives, who's getting married, who's getting divorced, who's carked it, who's got a new job. I don't learn any of that. I just learn that there's some advertising company that wants to sell me stuff, and that some people who, you know, friend adjacent people, not maybe direct friends, but people who started, you know, made friends with me on Facebook during the whole fighting against Brexit era of my life, and they just post bullshit, and it's tiring, especially when you see the same AI generated bullshit again and again and again, and you're like, but this is bullshit, or it's, you know, something where it's a lie, but it's wrapped around in a truth, which is the best way to make someone swallow a lie. It's like when you got to feed your dog a pill, you wrap it in dog food. Richard says, I used to do it, but too many gym ladies showing their bottoms. I have Insta for that. Don't use Facebook anymore. It's bloody awful. It's awful. I only watch YouTube. I found you and guys, Phil, etc. Found you guys and Phil on here. It works. Yeah. Look, YouTube is my platform, obviously, and I don't do as many videos for TikTok as I do for YouTube, mostly because you can't really, I can't monetize my videos on TikTok in the same way that I can monetize my videos here. But it's something that I might look into, because there's a lot of a lot of people who make their money through YouTube, and they get particularly successful videos that are watched by millions of people. Anyway, I just want to talk a little bit about the stupidity of this ban. So it came about because Trump was pissed off at them. Zuckerberg was pissed off. Zuckerberg lobbied like millions of dollars lobbying to get TikTok banned. Alistair, thank you very much, Alistair. That's really kind of you. Alistair just dropped in a £5 super chat. If your TikTok between 5 minutes and 3 hours, the more CPP propaganda bias you get. China did show a video last night. It was interesting. Well, I mean, I'm not feeling particularly warm and fuzzy about China after spending a few years on TikTok and having gone to China several times, having traveled across the extent of China. I mean, I spent 7 days in Tibet, not 7 years, but you know, I've been to Beijing, I've been to Shanghai, I've been to Guangzhou, I've been to Qingzhou, Qingdao. No, I've forgotten the name of the place. Qingdao. Um, I've been to the Great Wall. I've been to the Great Wall. I've been to Xi'an. And it's okay. I mean, I'm not feeling particularly warm, fuzzy feelings towards China or the leader of that country, who looks a bit like Winnie the Pooh, and he doesn't like being that comparison being made. Yeah, thanks, Alistair. I don't know. I mean, the CCP propaganda bias is an interesting one, because maybe it sinks into other people, but it seemed to me a place where I only saw progressive content because that was my algorithm, and it pointed things out that I otherwise wouldn't have known. I mean, when I started doing these live shows back in 2020, I would go on Twitter. I would go on Twitter and see what was being talked about on Twitter. I'd go and check the headlines on the BBC, on CNN, on the Guardian site, to find stuff to talk about. Now I find myself increasingly, I did this before I go to bed, just having a flick through TikTok, not for very long, and quite a quick flick, a quick flick before bedtime, through ladies, through TikTok, and the stuff on there. And I think, oh yeah, that'd be a good thing to talk about. So yeah, anyway, this bill went through last year. It's been signed by the president. It's been signed by Biden. The funniest bit of this whole thing was when Jeff Jackson, who has 2.5 million followers, he was a senator for North Carolina, Democratic senator for North Carolina. He had this huge TikTok following, and then he voted to ban TikTok, and he did this video, and it's remarkable. I should have had it queued up so I could show it to you. This is this video where he just comes on and goes, the reason why I voted for it is because I don't think it'll happen. Like now, Jeff. Anyway, so it's the 11th hour, and there's three ways this can go. Right, it could either be, and the ban could come in on the 19th, and that's it. Or they could find someone to sell it to before the 19th. People have suggested they sell the American arm of the operation to Elon Musk, which is a bit like selling the chicken coop to the fox. Wow. Remarkable. But then Elon Musk does have a very good relationship with China, because he has a lot of his Tesla factories there, or he sells a lot of Teslas there. Second biggest market in the world for Teslas is China, in terms of sales. And then you've got the sort of the third option, which is that the Supreme Court, at some point, we don't know when, they don't give a timetable, might drop something. They might do it while we're talking. I doubt it, because it's the middle of the night over there. But to say, to put a stay on this ban. So it will be like a 9-month stay. There was a proposition put forward in Congress a couple of days ago by a Democrat representative, who said, this is silly. We need to put I think it was a senator actually. We need to put a pause on this and have a think about what we're doing. Because, and this is why this video is about the law of unintended consequences, what's happened in the last few days is loads of TikTok users, like loads, enough for this app to become the #1 app on the App Store and Google Play. They're all flocking to I want to call it a Chinese TikTok equivalent, but it's more like Instagram. So let's say a Chinese Instagram equivalent called Red Note, which is all kinds of hilarious in so many ways. Oh, Alistair, thank you very much. Alistair's being very generous today, dropping in these £5 super chats. Thank you, and also paying for memberships. They had data showing how biased it was, going. Also, people going to the Chinese app called the Little Red Book app. Yes, well, that's it. That's what I was talking about, Alice. So thanks very much for the super chat. Well, yeah, I was about to come on to this. So this app called Red Note is essentially the Chinese version of Insta, and TikTok is ostensibly a Singaporean company. It's supposed to be headquarters in Singapore. obviously there are some links with the Chinese government, which isn't surprising. China and Singapore are very closely linked. If you know your history, the people of Singapore there's a lot of and there's a lot of people who live in Singapore. The majority of the population and the people in charge are Han Chinese. They're not necessarily Malaysian or Singaporean, as in the fishing village that used to be there before the British turned up and said, this would be a great place for a port. But at the same time, it's hilarious that a Singaporean company has been banned in the US for its links with the Chinese Communist Party. And so the users of that app are now flocking to another app, which is actually Chinese. It's based in Shanghai. It is a Chinese app with links to the Chinese Communist Party, because you don't get to do any kind of entrepreneurial shit in China without the permission of the CCP. So yeah, bit of the backfire effect there, one would say. But again, this is why these stupid things that these stupid politicians, these Republicans do, backfire in such hilarious but also can be dreadful ways. You know, there's millions of Americans who make their money on TikTok. They make their money doing TikTok videos or selling their thing on TikTok, or pushing for community action through TikTok in their local community. It's a thing. We're talking billions of dollars, which are just going to be wiped out now. Like, you know, of earnings of people that would get that money and then spend it on shit. That's going to all be wiped out if this goes ahead. I personally think something's going to come at the 11th hour. I do think that there's going to be a Supreme Court ruling on Sunday night, like a minute before midnight, before the band's supposed to come in. I think it's Sunday it comes in. I don't know the time. Forgive me, I haven't looked that up, but I'm sure that the Supreme Court will say, actually, no. Can we have a little bit more time to think about this? I would be surprised if they don't at this point, because, like I say, it's driven so many Americans into the loving arms of the Chinese Communist Party. Which is the opposite thing that they want to do. But if we're going to talk about propaganda and data stealing, I mean, propaganda is why Musk spent 44 billion on Twitter. It seemed like a crazy thing at the time. Like, why would you spend that much money on an app that's worth half that and then run it into the ground? But he wasn't buying it to make money. He was buying it to buy the US government, which he's done. He's got it. It's his. He's in charge. Cathal, that's really kind of you. Cathal's just gifted a Politics Social membership. Thank you very much. I'm going to have to redo my credits at the end. Add the new people, add our wonderful new people who are now going to be Politics Social members for the next month. Thankfully, Graham knows more about it. What do we do? Honestly, Mr. News, I appreciate you filling me in. The internet is almost unusual without ad blockers now. It's gone too far. If they kept having it simple and easy to skip ads you don't want to see, no one will be bothered. Yeah. I mean, it is just, it's too much. It's the, what I was going to talk about, right, and the title of the video was going to involve the word enshittification, which was the word of the year, I think, for the Merriam-Webster dictionary. Last year, it was enshittification, which speaks to what's happening on the internet, but also in many other facets of life. The enshittification is it's like the entropy of anything. You start off with a great platform that works and it grows, and then it becomes a thing to, people to talk to each other on, and they enjoy using it. But then the monetary side of things becomes all too important. These platforms have to continue to grow all the time. They must grow. It's no good, if you made 100 million last year, if you make 100 million this year, God, that's a failure. You've got to make 150 million this year. You've got to get number go up. And as a result, you're seeing people being swamped with adverts, and Google is shitter than it ever used to be. I try and find something out. It is so infuriating. Let's just talk about this for a moment, because I'm sure you've gone through the same thing. And well done to GR Greg, who's just been gifted a membership to the channel. One of the things that drives me up the wall, I use a lot of photo editing software and video editing software. I don't use a lot. I use them a lot. Specifically Premiere and Photoshop on the Adobe suite, which I pay for. You know, it's not cheap. Jesus, it's not cheap. And there are things like there's a million things you can do on it, and sometimes you're like, I need to know how to do this specific thing, and usually it's like it's really simple. It's just a case of clicking on a particular icon and then picking the right thing from the menu. That's it. That's all I need to know. You're talking maybe 5 seconds worth of information, right? 1 line worth of information. Just a picture of the screen. Here, click here. That's what I need. I need a picture of the screen and something saying click here. Here's how to do that thing. But now I type in, how do I reduce, I don't know, how do I reduce grain on a video? And it comes up with this AI overview. And I'm sure you've all experienced this because I'm sure you've all used Google, which is never what you actually ask for. It's like, no, I'm not asking that. And then it's videos. And if you click on any of these, because it won't just tell you. You can't just see, in Google, here's how to do it. You've got to watch a video. And they do this on purpose so that you click on the video and have to watch at least a few seconds of an advert, at least 5 seconds of an advert before you can press skip ad. And then you get to the guy telling you how to do it. But instead of just saying, here's the screen, this is where you click, the video has to be, hi, so I see you're using Adobe Premiere, which is one of the best video editing programs if you like being frustrated as fuck. Yes, that's right, things will stop working for no reason. You accidentally hit the wrong key on the keyboard, everything will go out of sync. And it won't even tell you why. And you won't even notice till about 20 steps later when it's too late to go back in your history. And you're like, okay, why are you telling me all this? I know all this. Also, the sun is a hot yellow thing in the sky. Anyway, meanwhile, if you want to reduce the grain on your video, what you need to do, but first, a word from our sponsor. And it's like, if we're going to talk about like the internet increasing productivity, the shitification of the internet is decreasing productivity because we can't just look things up like we used to. It used to be so much easier, and you can see why the likes of Zuckerberg wants to get rid of TikTok because it's competition. But you can also see why the likes of Musk, who's a fucking psychopath, wants to get rid of Wikipedia because it's a reliable source of information. And what these fuckers want to do, it's not just about controlling the means of communication. They've already won that battle. They also want to control the means of information, communication and information. So you only see what they want you to see, and they shut down anything that allows for voices to talk without left-wing voices to talk without abuse, without being abused, without being called names and being insulted and being doxxed and being attacked online and the mental health suffering that comes with that. I mean, I don't want that. I don't want that. And people go on Twitter, just block the trolls. No, mate, look, it's very sweet, okay? And I'm sure you've got the mental fortitude to deal with 1,000 people telling you you're a cunt every day, but most of us don't, okay? So just have a little bit of empathy and go, okay, most people can't sort of deal with that. So yeah, get off that platform. Get off it. Get off. I've just demonetized this video, haven't I? Damn, I need to stop doing that. But that's what happens on Twitter every day, and they don't get demonetized, do they? No, they actually get more money. I saw that Andrew Tate is not under house arrest anymore for some reason, even though he's a criminal and a people trafficker and a rapist and a scumbag and a sex offender who's captured the minds of many young men who think that this is the way to pick up women, is to treat them really badly. And I've got to say, it might work once in a blue moon for a pickup, but keeping a girlfriend, it's not going to happen, mate. It's not going to happen. I was going to talk about that. And also, I wanted to mention law of unintended consequences on the same theme. Yesterday, there was a bill that went through the House of Representatives, HR 28, the Protection of Women and Girls in Sports Act. And it's a mandate for sexual predators. It's a pedo's charter. It is a nonsense wonderland. It is disgusting, this bill. What it does is it targets the 20 pro athletes who are transgender in the US. All 20 of them out of 17,000. And says you're not allowed to compete in women's sports. Because it's unfair. Yeah, life's unfair, mate. So this is something that has been held up by the likes of J.K. Rowling and her gruesome friends, Graham Linehan and other vile trans obsessives. And now it's gone through the House of Representatives, hoping that this bill's going to die in the Senate. But if it doesn't, it'll give nonces, paedophiles, sex cases, criminals, the right, in fact, the mandated right to inspect the genitalia of teenage girls if they want to play sports. What do you think's going to happen there? I mean, it's hard enough to get a lot of kids to play sports anyway, because, you know, tablets are a thing, and TV and Netflix and stuff, and sitting on the couch is a thing. And you're going to say, no, in order to play softball, in order to play football, in order to play rounders in school, you have to allow a member of staff to look at your genitals. And some Democrats stood up in the House and made this exact point. They made this exact fucking point. This is what's going to happen if this bill goes through. And nearly every single Republican voted for it. And 2 Democrats voted for it. 2 Texan Democrats who were like, yeah, I think that's right. We should be going around, you know, forcing children to drop their knickers and show that they're actually... Wow. What a time to be alive, eh? But yeah, unintended consequences. Katrina, thank you very much for the £5 super chat. Hi, Graham, joining late. Here's some money to offset the demonetization for the swearing. Please don't misconstrue this as condoning swearing, lol. Oh, thank you very much, Katrina. That's very kind of you. And also, Darren Christian has also done that. Hope this makes up for the demonetizing. Wish me luck today, having a small op under general anesthetic. Oh, mate, okay. Thank you so much for the super chat, Darren. And best of luck with the operation today. And, you know, think happy thoughts. I hope you have nice dreams while you're under general anesthetic. I've had a couple of things done under a general anesthetic, and it's the weirdest thing. It is literally the weirdest thing. It's like, I'm going to count down. They put the mask over your face, laughing gas or whatever it is, and they say, I'm going to count backwards from 10. 10, 9, 8. And then you wake up in a different place, in a different time, with different clothes on, with a bandage, and it's just like, what the fuck just happened? It's a very, very surreal feeling. So, yeah, best of luck with that, mate. Hope it all goes well. Cathal says, wish you well with that. I've been in between jobs twice, relatively recently, once after a contract and live streams. Most of this help keep my spirits up. Yay! Even though we're complaining about stuff, Cathal, we're going, this is shit. here's the shit that's going on. Talking of shit that's going on, should we have a quick look at the papers? I don't want to dwell on this too much because a lot of the papers have got the same thing on this morning. Don't you hate it when you go to a party and there's someone wearing exactly the same thing as you? Kate is in remission, and there's a cropping error at the top here, and this cropping error, I thought this was just on the BBC website, but no, it's on this one as well. So they've sent this out, and that should be cut across there, so you can actually read the headline, how that got through the sub-editor, the editor who didn't. I mean, it's the first thing I noticed, but whatever. Okay, so there's Kate there, looking lovely. I mean, you know, good luck to her. I'm in remission. Which is fantastic news, absolutely fantastic news. She thanks medical staff and embraces patients in moving return to hospital. Great, and also hopefully it'll give people who are suffering from cancer or their families a bit of hope. You know, that it can be defeated. Well, I mean, it's never really properly defeated. It's remission. She'll have to go back every 6 months or every year for checks to make sure that it hasn't come back. The iPaper here, Reeves searching for growth and ready to cut spending in March, mini budget amid Treasury turbulence. Back to what we were talking about yesterday about Rachel Reeves and the hunt for growth. We all know, everyone watching this knows a quick fire way of stimulating the British economy to the tune of billions and billions of pounds, and that is to rejoin the EU. Also make buying a house in Spain a bit cheaper. Next up, we've got Kate there again, and we've got Sadiq quits over links to Bangladesh corruption. This is about Tulip Sadiq, who quit yesterday. She's the anti-corruption czar for the government, and she's embroiled in a corruption scandal. Not a great look. She was found to have done nothing wrong by the Parliamentary Standards Committee, but still, it's not a good look. It's not a good look. And the Daily Mail are reveling in it. One lame duck down. Tulip Sadiq finally quit her Treasury post last night. Yay! And then Kate, my relief at being in remission from cancer. Picture of Tony Slattery there on the front cover of The Guardian. Absolutely, heartbreaking to hear he's gone. He was it is in his pomp, in his prime, in the 1990s. He was everywhere on TV, and he was funny as hell. He was just really, really good, funny bastard. And he was only 65. It's no age to die. Kate's return to cancer hospital. Thank you. I told you. Most of the newspapers are just about Kate. Although Tulip Sadiq is on the front cover there. Well, I mentioned about it in the Guardian. There's a story at the bottom of the Guardian. If you look around here, call to end flawed use of BMI to diagnose obesity. I think this is overdue. Far too many people are being told they're overweight when actually that's just their weight. That's just the size it's supposed to be. There's no one size fits all. The body mass index isn't a great way of doing it, and you're getting a lot of people being told they are obese when they're healthy. And I think that's what the line needs to be redrawn. And there has to be a line, but it needs to be where your weight is unhealthy. If you are a naturally skinny person and you put a lot of weight on, that might be seen as unhealthy, but if you're naturally a big person and you're big, it shouldn't necessarily trigger the BMI thing to say that you're obese, because that just puts on a lot of mental strain onto people, and not being able to eat is torture. It's like people who go on diets, it's torture for them. And that's why these weight loss drugs are so revolutionary, because it takes away the torture from dieting. It's easy to not eat as much when you're not hungry. I take it from me, like when I go to the island in Panama, when I do work, I hardly eat. I'll skip breakfast, lunch, and dinner some days. Like seriously, I just won't eat. And it's not like I'm fasting. It's not like I've got some spiritual thing going on. It's just I'm not hungry. It's dead hot. I'm in the heat. I just don't have much of an appetite. Come back here. There's like cakes, chocolate, burgers, chips, all sorts, fried chicken. Moving on. PM to pay damages to Jerry Adams. Senior peers and IRA victims criticise unexpected repealing of Troubles law. So this is the Telegraph politicising the fact that this law, which should never have been brought in, the Troubles law, is finally getting repealed. And they're like, but it will mean that Jerry Adams gets money. And I'm like, I don't care. In the greater scheme of things, we've got bigger fish to fry. And then keep your filthy hands off Tory beavers. That's the star for some reason. I don't know what that's about. Kate's relief at being in remission from cancer. Treasury Minister Sadiq quits over corruption probes. And then we've got the Financial Times. Strong winds raise threat, which is talking about what's happening in California right now, which is very worrying overnight. And Tulip Sadiq quits, and then China discusses using Musk as broker in deal to stop TikTok's US shutdown, which is something that I alluded to earlier in the show. Yes, the Chinese authorities might be talking to Musk about possibly buying the US side of US subsidiary of TikTok in order to keep it going. So out of the frying pan into the fire. Out of the frying pan into the blazing, fiery lakes of molten hell. In this case. Who says, when I was nursing, I challenged them about the BMI. They said they would look into it, and I heard nothing more. Richard says, I'm 5'6", 13 stone at my fittest. They say I'm obese. Yeah, it's wrong. I think it's been wrong for many, many years. it's a one size fits all that doesn't take other things into consideration. One of the big things is metabolism. Like, people have different metabolisms, they just do, and as long as the weight isn't unhealthy, that's where you got to draw the line. Is it unhealthy for this person to be this weight? If the answer is yes, great, do something about it, sort it, fine. If the answer is no, then what's the problem? You know, the what the BMI index sort of the I stands for index. Sorry, well, BMI. That's like when you say pin number, isn't it? The N is in the pin. But yeah, the BMI is it's I think it's unhelpful. I think you'd agree with me on that it's unhelpful. But also I feel it's quite damaging in that it reinforces the negative stereotypes of society, that people who are, you know, large are somehow lazy, or they don't try hard enough to stay skinny, or they don't do enough exercise. I know people who run every day who are bigger than me. I don't run every day. I don't go to the gym. Maybe I should, but it's not impacting my health as much as, you know, it's not like I can't walk up a flight of stairs without gasping for air or anything. If I get to that position, I will definitely do something about it. But um, I think it's really, really unhelpful, and it seems to be more to do with you know, modern beauty standards than actual health. And it should be a health service, you know. In the small print, it does say that muscle weighs more than fat, bit like a newspaper headline. Yep. Captain says, I put on 3 stone since I quit smoking. You need to find another fidget. You need to find something else to give you the little hits, don't you? I think. Witchy goth. I mean, smoking is just so bad, isn't it? It's like you can have heart disease and lung cancer, or you can put on weight. Your choice. Not being able to eat because I have a dreadful hernia is awful. I eat too much, I'm in pain. Had to lose weight for the operation due to visceral fat. 42 kilograms. That's fantastic, Richie Goff, that you're down that much. But yeah, not being able to eat when you are hungry is torture. That's how they torture people. They starve them. They give them no food. That's pretty standard. Has been for a very, very long time. So anyone talks to you about going on a diet, if that diet is going to involve you being hungry all the time, you are subjecting yourself to torture and trauma. You know, muscle mass and water also make a difference, says Richie Goff. Yeah, absolutely. Ripped Marsden says, I am Richard, by the way. No, sorry. Richard Marsden says, I am ripped, by the way. Okay. I trust you. Lee says, the BMI charts can be mental health problems and eating disorders. Exactly. And MH Carer, I walk the minimum of 8,000 steps a day plus, which is good. I saw a really good video by Rachel Barr, the neuroscientist lady on TikTok, and it was really good. She was talking about keeping your brain healthy. This wasn't to do with losing weight or being on a diet, just keeping your brain healthy. She says you got to move. You don't need to do exercise in a regimented way. So you don't need to go to the gym. If you love going to the gym, fine. But if you hate going to the gym, going to the gym isn't going to be good for your mental state, because you're going to be stressed out about, getting to the gym, going to the gym, doing things in the gym, if you're not enjoying it. So go find something that you enjoy and involves movement. It could be dancing. It could be sex. It could be going for a walk. It could be, whatever. As long as you are moving, that is good for your mental health, because as humans or mammals or living things, we have evolved to want to move, and so sitting down all day at a desk or whatever is not healthy for our minds. And I thought it was a really good point, because it is a bit like all or nothing, isn't it? It's like, I need to lose some weight, I need to get more healthy, I'll have to get a gym membership. And then you look at how much a gym membership is, and it's like £26 a month, and like, I can't afford that. I can't afford £26 a month. I'm already paying that, more than that, for the Adobe suite. How can I afford that to go? Which I need to work. How can I afford to go to the gym? And then it's like, even if you do get a gym membership, it's go in the gym if you don't enjoy it. So yeah, I just thought that was a really good way of looking at it. Just keep moving. Just keep moving. Sex while dancing. Yeah, that'd be good. My partner had just started weight loss injection. It's helping, says Richard. Yeah. And again, I don't think it's something that should be stigmatized. I hate the stigmatization of medicine. I hate the fact that people go, oh, you're taking this pill. You gotta wean yourself off that pill. It's like, why? Why? If that pill is helping you and it works for you, and I know it doesn't work for everyone. Let me make this very clear. The same medical procedure, the same drug, the same process. If it works for one person, it might not work for another. If it worked for you, it might not work for me, etc. This sort of idea of people who rely on a particular medication are weak, because especially when it comes to psychoactive medication, things for like ADHD, and other sort of mental health issues. The idea that it's bad that you're on this, it's like, would you say to a diabetic, "Oh, don't be taking that insulin"? You'll be hooked on it for life. You know what the best insulin is? A walk in the forest. That's the best insulin. Yeah. Never. And this is where we have a disparity between physical health problems and mental health problems. Where physical health problems, it's like, oh shit, you need help. It's clear you've broken your leg, and we need to sort that out. Whereas mental health problems are treated completely differently. Mental health problems, the first knee-jerk reaction of a lot of the gamminati out there is, you've done this to yourself. It's your fault that your brain is doing this to you, making you act in this certain way. It's your fault. Whereas, generally speaking, if you break your leg in an accident, even if you were doing something pretty fucking stupid that caused you to break your leg, you get sympathy. Oh shit, you broke your leg. How did you do that? Oh, I was trying to climb a lamppost to put a picture of fucking Nigel Farage up it. Oh, you poor bastard. Oh, that must really hurt. Sympathy. But when it's mental health, it just that same sort of level of empathy and understanding just disappears. And it's like, it's something that we really need to work on as a society. Especially when someone finds something that works for them, and then you're saying, no, you shouldn't do that. You shouldn't do that thing that works for you. And I think a big part of a holistic health service, not a sickness service, not a service that just fixes you when you're broken, but actually keeps you healthy. I think a huge part of that is finding, it's triage, isn't it? It's just finding titration, not triage, titration. It's finding what works for you, what dosage works for you of any particular therapy or whatever. So yeah, anyway, I got off my high horse now. I tried to wean myself off addictive painkillers, and the doctor says it makes me feel I'm trying to do something rather than submitting. I understand that, but I mean, if it works for you, then you've got to do what's right for you. And it's not what's right for the fucking Mail newspaper. It's not what's right for your racist uncle on Facebook or whoever. You've got to find out your own path. And you might make some mistakes along the way, and that's fine. It's one of the other reasons why I think we should legalize all drugs. Let people find their own path. Don't make it so it's illegal for them to find what works for them. Which is and give loads of money to criminals in the process, and open the door to ODing on stuff that you wouldn't be able to OD on if it was legalized, because it would be moderated and you wouldn't be able to get so much of it that you would OD. And if you did OD, you'd do it in a clinic, and therefore there'd be medical professionals around to give you whatever you need to cure you from your OD. Well, cure you, but save you from your overdose, so you don't actually freaking die. Yeah, that's another story for another day. Right, I've gone 14 minutes over time, so bonus Graham, yay! You'll be getting loads more of me today. Got three shows today. This is one of them. One down. 2 to go. 12 o'clock, PMQs, with Mr. Prime Minister, Keir Starmer, and the idiot in charge of the Conservative Party at the moment, Kemi Badenoch, who is very bad Enoch at her job. Last week, she asked 6 questions, courtesy of Elon Musk, about historical child abuse, and made a complete arse of herself. And before then, every time she stood up in Parliament, she's made a complete arse of herself. So I'm guessing she's going to make an arse of herself. But, stay tuned. We can watch it together. We can be enraged together. We can laugh together. We can cry together. So come join me for the watch party of PMQs at 12 o'clock, live and interactive here on Morning Brew. Morning Brew. Yeah, on Politics Social. And then 6 o'clock tonight, we got the return of the lovely Rachel Harris for a very special episode of The Intersection, where we're going to be talking about all the shit that's been going down in the last couple of months since we last did an episode of The Intersection. So please join us for that. That'll be live and interactive as well, but it'll be probably only open to members because we don't want, the chat will be, just because we don't want people being horrible. Because it's not great for Rachel's mental health, and there's a lot of trans people who watch this channel, and it's not great for their mental health as well if we ever get trolls on that subject. So the comments will be a little bit restricted, more than normal, but if you can, I'd love you to join us and tell us what you think, and that'll be 6 o'clock till 7 o'clock tonight, and then I'll be back tomorrow for another Morning Brew at 9:30. Supposed to be a half-hour show. Always goes on a bit longer than that because I just like rabbiting on. But yeah, Elon Musk, he's a twat. There you go. That's all I want to say about that. Until next time, thank you for the super chats. Thank you for the chats. Give us a like on the way out, and until maybe 12 o'clock today, I'll say hello, good evening, welcome, and goodbye.